Hello and welcome to Magical Journey. I am your host, Daniel Cahoon, and tonight I am so excited, guys, because honestly, this is probably, I have been looking forward to this interview for a moment now, okay, a long moment. So I'm excited tonight. We have a really good group of people in tonight already. You guys have been uh, kind of waiting for this moment too, I know, because some of you have been talking about it in the group and in chats. Uh, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Trust me. I feel tonight is a moment we all need at this point in our very interesting journey into the holidays. So before we get started, though, I want to throw out some shameless promotion for just a moment. Um, First of all, if you have any doubt about anything that you need to know about Magical Journey, um, about the about merch, about social media, anything at all, there is magicaljourney.com, which is an excellent source of information. It's also a pretty cool website, I think, considering the fact that I made it. Along with that, I want to guide you guys over to Facebook, Magical Journey, the page. There is always information on upcoming shows, current shows, anything you need to know about what is about to happen on this channel. If you have any doubt about what the subject matter is or who the next guest is or anything like that, that's a really good place to go to. Along with that, we have the Magical Journey group, which again, tonight, I just uploaded some more. I upload a whole new album on in the media area on some stuff that I've been working on lately and doing episodes of the Paranormal Files on. So you guys go check that out. Check that group out. There's a lot of information that comes into that group that you won't get anywhere else. Also, along with that, we do have the page for the Paranormal Files. All things Paranormal Files can be found on there as far as times, dates, what the show, the upcoming show is about, that kind of thing. X and Insta and TikTok are also platforms that you can find me on. I'm not going to give you a whole lot of information on that. Go check it out. TikTok, I will tell you, is more of a behind the scenes and personal journal as a podcaster. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, if you're interested in my journey, then go check that out. Now, I am so excited, guys. So tonight I have with me a very special guest, someone who is local in my part of the country. I'm happy about that, and is a fellow investigator and researcher and an author. So we will be talking about books. We will talk about ghosts. We will be talking about all kinds of things. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Cyn Shrader Hill.
Hey, you keep talking about how excited you are. I am so much more excited than you are. I can't help it. I've been looking forward to this.
It for one thing, having somebody local in my own neighborhood pretty much that's on the show that we can talk about stuff is very exciting. But then you have this whole, like, I mean, you're an author, you have an investigation group that goes on. You have so much going on. And then, of course, now you're also helping put together an amazing cookbook. There's so many things.
Oh, man, I tell you, that cookbook has taken up some time. And,
Imagine.
by the way, Mark told me to tell you and all your listeners, howdy, and
Yay.
that he was sending you through the air some mystical brownies.
Oh, good. I need those.
He should be on shortly. I see Leanna. Hey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's, so tell us a little bit about what you got going on. You got a lot going on. Um, Tell us about your social media, your books. Just give us all about Cyn.
I'd be happy to. You'll probably have to tell me to shut up. So whenever you say shut up, I'll shut up.
You're
Just
fine.
all my books are on Amazon. I'm self-published. Right now, I've got five. One of them is fiction. One of those other four are signs of our loved ones. The other ones are ghost stories, all true
Mhm.
ghost stories. So be sure to check those out. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, they're free. So that helps a
Mhm.
lot of people.
Yes, it
Um,
does.
I'm working on Mark's cookbook and started it last fall. It's so close. It is so close. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I am formatting the last little bits of it and then I can hook everything together and I'm so excited. He's so excited. And we just can't hardly sleep right now to oh my gosh, this is almost done. Then I can get my book number 6 and 7 out because I've got all the stories. I just haven't had time to edit.
Yeah.
Um, with all this going on, there's not been too much investigating, but what I've gotten to do lately is with Eric Freeman Sims
Mhm.
at different places. And Eric is my buddy that lives in Fairview. So he's not too far from you either.
Right, right.
And he
Yeah.
owns the now famous Night House in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And he's opened it up to paranormal groups. And I actually got to be on the team that was the inaugural investigation. So that was a lot of fun. And
Wow.
check him out, you guys, the Night House in Hopkinsville and Eric Freeman Sims. He's got a lot going on as well. He's also writing his first book. So, you know, among authors, as soon as Mark gets this cookbook out, he's got one I know already ready for editing, if not more than that. So, this cookbook has just kind of stalled everything. But as soon as it's
Right.
out, there's going to be like a wall come down and we're going to be in mass hysteria probably. So everybody's going to have to shut us up. But I mostly as far as investigating, like I said,
Mhm.
I've been doing some things with Eric and my friends. My team has just kind of slowed down, except for helping others with blessings and saging rituals. So
Mhm.
how to, because honestly, if you're living in a haunted space that's bothering you,
Mhm.
you're the best one to get rid of it.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
we teach how to do that. And that seems to, as long as they've got the confidence, we even can do online virtual with them and do
Oh,
the
wow.
ritual with them as they walk around their house. So they're not alone. And it helps them. It builds up their confidence. Plus, they've got us there chanting with them, and it all works. Mark's found out that remote viewing on camera has made him more of an energy so
Mhm.
that the spirits talk with him easily. So maybe this smudging ritual virtually will help get things gone.
Yeah, yeah, it's so here's one of the things that I find about working through online myself is like you it seems to me like it really kind of expands everything very quickly sometimes. And somebody, the first time I did anything online at all, I was talking with somebody, and all of a sudden I just got this huge download, and the conversation shifted very quickly. And you know his response was, wow, that escalated real quickly. I was like, yeah, and not what I was expecting at all. And, I find this to be the case a lot of times when working online. And that's one of the reasons why I think it's a very important, if you do that kind of stuff, you know, to have all your ducks in a row, so to say, and make sure that you're protected, you're well ready for it, and uh, what's coming up. Because I gotta tell you, for me, I was a lot. Whoa, what happened here? Um, yeah, Mark does an incredible job with everything in his work. As do you. So I'm sure uh, I would love to see you guys do a, like a almost like a live team um, kind of investigation at some point and see how that goes.
We're working on some things. So we're trying to get some things going and planned and see what happens. He's actually been going on investigations with Austin Lawrence, our other buddy.
Oh, wow.
Um, and Austin has been doing documentaries and working on
Hmm.
different things. And Mark has been doing remotes for him.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he actually did a remote for me and Eric at the Night House in Hopkinsville. So that
Wow.
was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, yeah. Can only imagine. So I mentioned to you because this case just kind of literally fell in my lap uh, this week. I, I've kind of got a interest of sorts recently in a uh, house controversy from a while back. I think it was 2014 or so when this case came to light in Gary, Indiana. And we talked about it briefly uh, just a little bit ago. The Demon House, as they call it. Zach, God, what's his last name? I don't even remember what show he's
Bagans,
from now.
Bagans,
Yeah, yeah.
something.
He's part of the Ghost Hunters show or something.
No, Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Adventurers, yeah. He actually bought that house, and then after he bought it, had it demolished, which I was like,
I couldn't believe he did that.
yeah, I'm not really sure. I would love to ask him what was going through your head when you did that.
Right.
But so this case has kind of just fallen into my lap, and I've kind of like just been almost obsessed with learning more about it recently. Uh, I'm curious as to like I know you said you don't know a lot about the background of it, but with some of these more famous hauntings and so forth, these more famous experiences, like this was actual possession
Hmm.
uh, that took place. What are your views on some of those? Because I know there's some that are really, chart topper, like journal. eh, The news media just takes off with them. What's your thoughts on some of those?
It's almost like the ones like that one just have a life of their own. They just
Right.
explode. And as soon as they hit the airwaves, they explode. Um, I think he took advantage of that
Hmm.
and needed ratings, even though he already had some good ratings.
Oh, yeah,
But, it's all a
yeah,
rating game on TV.
it is.
And I I don't think I told Tom when I was
Mhm.
on Eye of Jupiter that they had come to Fayetteville. I'm not really sure if I talked about that group, but they've been to the old hospital here,
Wow.
and it's the old Fayetteville Hospital, old Lincoln County Hospital, and Elk Valley is the one that was doing the public tours for the owner for so long, and
Oh, wow.
Uh, the city actually stopped all of that because we live in a good old boy society that if they're not getting their money somehow under the table
Mhm.
from a sole proprietor, somebody that owns this, it's not in service as a hospital anymore. It's not a
Right.
public building, that everybody comes in to use. It was owned by one person, but they put a stop to that, and he's still trying to figure out what to do. But when Ghost Adventures came in, they blocked off 4 days to shoot at the old hospital,
Hmm.
and they came in with a script. The
Mm.
script had nothing to do with the hospital, nothing. After the third person told them, don't you don't have to have a script. All you got to do is walk through the doors. Because truly, and it's probably because I've been there so much, it is
Mhm.
the most haunted place I've ever been. And that's probably because I've been there so much.
Mhm.
Because I mean, Gettysburg, very haunted,
Mhm.
Alamo haunted, Alcatraz haunted, been to all those. But the old hospital for me is the most haunted place. Um, when they got rid of their script after the third person said, let's go in um, and investigate instead of using a script, they threw it away and actually did investigate. It ended up being one of their better episodes. So, yeah. Um, but again, it's all ratings. And, they take 4 days of filming. They take the greatest hits of that, condense it into 40 minutes, because you and
Literally.
I both know you're not going to be able to go in, get all this evidence, and then actually show it as this is
Mhm.
what this is, and not in 40 minutes. It's not going to happen. You and I are going to sit in the dark and say, is so and so here that would like to speak to us? Can you, you know,
Mhm.
and it just doesn't happen like on TV. Um, I think when he went into that house, it was for that. It was well known. People will tune in because of it so being well known.
Mhm.
And he took advantage of that for ratings. Why would you tear it down? He said it was not in a good section of town,
Mhm.
right? Well, it's been there forever.
Right.
And when you tear it down, those spirits didn't get torn down. Where did they go?
Right. Right. And that was part of my thought on it too. The Here's the thing: is like you are so on spot when you talk about it being about the ratings and about clickbait and all that kind of stuff. It really is
Mhm.
because you like you said, you and I are going to go into a situation and um we're going to be like we're going to want to actually get the meat and bones of the story, and get to the core
Mhm.
of what's happening.
Mhm.
you these guys walk in, and I've known people who've been approached by some of these teams, some of these professional teams before, and and have been tried to be recruited into them and stuff like that. And the demands that they have and their contracts and so forth is very difficult.
Mhm.
Um, like you literally have to give up the rights to a lot of your personal stuff and stuff like that with those guys. And you know, I get it. I get it. It's a business. Okay, we
Right.
it's big business because you get a successful series or a successful show or whatever, and you can make mint off of it easily. but it's more than just about the dollar. It really is. There's the sacredness and the holiness you know, of life itself involved with these things. And, you know, yeah, in the case of the demon house, as Denise said, he said it was satanic energy there and so forth. Obviously, there was some stuff going on there. Okay,
Hmm.
obviously, but in the end, you, we have to hold ourselves accountable, hold our community accountable for what we do with this stuff. And if that accountability is not there, then unfortunately, some very tragic things like this is going to happen. Um, I gotta tell you, honestly, just driving through your town, because I have to drive through there sometimes going home from uh, the Huntsville area whenever I'm working in Huntsville because our district is a lot.
One of these days, we've got to catch each other.
We really do
Yeah,
because when I'm driving through there, like my first instinct is to drive through quickly. Um,
to
well,
get
but
home.
then I get on the back roads of 231 though, and I'm like, oh, this isn't at all anything I anticipated. Because if you go at the wrong time of the morning, you're not gonna have fun with that road.
Oh,
It
no.
it twists and turns and it goes all through these back areas and it looks like a wood booger is gonna jump out of that sucker any minute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
And
when I go through there,
in where I live in Flintville, which is
mhm,
on the southeastern side of the county, um,
right.
it's known for the Flintville monster.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Which,
yeah,
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 which is a Bigfoot-ish kind of thing. I've
yeah.
not seen it though. I've not seen it.
You know, here's the thing, but like all of these communities through there, have a lot of folk stories, a lot of folk tales, a lot of lore behind them,
Mhm.
and I always try I tell people all the time, when it comes to the lore of an area, it's at least partially true somewhere along the line. There's some truth hidden in those stories. So don't, just because it's an old wives' tale from, over there in the holler, don't dismiss it.
Yeah,
You don't dismiss these things because, the heart of the matter is a lot of times, you, somewhere along the line and somewhere in history, that story actually happened. Those people really existed.
that's right.
That place has something going on there.
Yeah, yeah. This
Uh,
whole county's got things, and um, the whole really the South. We're just bombarded with all kinds of stuff. And then you get up in New England, they're bombarded with all kinds of stuff.
oh,
Out
jeez.
as people went west, they were bombarded. So this whole nation is haunted. Let's just say it. It's
Mhm.
haunted. We got all
Oh
kinds
yeah,
of
yeah.
places, and some more than others. But there's just a lot going on. And um, you might have heard a story in one state about Crybaby Bridge. I
Hmm.
think there's like I don't even know how many because there's one here in the county that's a Crybaby
Hmm.
Bridge. So I'm sure that they have things like that, like something similar to Dead Children's Playground in Huntsville.
Hmm.
There's, just different things like that all over the country. They're just
Oh
called
my
different
God,
things.
Huntsville has so many. There's so many things there in that town. It just, I mean, the history of Huntsville alone is overwhelming.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
with when you get into the paranormal side of it, um, like you said, there's the Dead Children's Playground, the Twickenham area.
Right?
over there, as there's some of those houses just creep me out just walking past them. There's
I
one or
love them.
two.
Oh, I
I
love
there,
them.
I love them, but like there's one or two that were built in the late 1700s that you walk by and there's a vibe that comes off of those things. It's just not okay.
Oh,
Um, I have seen and heard way too much in the town there in Twickenham area of Huntsville to feel comfortable around some of those places. Um, when
I
you,
guess Al is talking about one of the baby bridges, right?
I think
I
so. I
think
think
so.
so.
I
Yeah.
think so. Al
What is
Al is another person you might want to have on your show sometime. He just came out with his first book, and
really?
it's yes, and it's a really good book. It's based on his life story.
Oh wow.
Al's a cool dude, musician, all that good stuff. He's a good guy. Good guy.
I will have to check that out then
Uh
because
huh.
I like to know about people's story,
Yeah.
what it is, what's going on. Look, there's one area in Huntsville, and I'm losing my mind trying to remember the name of it, but there was, it's an older part of town. There was supposedly um, like a haunted train track or something that ran through it at one time. And I know there was a church called Huntsville Holiness Church over in that area at one point, an old white brick building. And to save my life, I cannot remember the exact, but I know there was something about ghost lights around the train tracks there. You know, you hear that story a lot too.
Yeah. You hear it
The
here.
oh yeah,
The Flintville
oh
light.
yeah.
And then there's also a white church really close to me, maybe 7 miles ish, 5 to 7 miles.
Hmm.
That is in, I think the name of the road it's on is Blankenship Hollow. It might be Till Hollow, one of the two. Excuse me. But this little white church is a block building, and the history of it, I don't know that much about. The story that I've heard about it is there's a Bible inside that once you pick it up at the altar and try to walk to the door, it gets heavier and heavier and heavier until you cannot carry it any longer.
Oh wow.
So that's here. Just all kinds of little snippets of really cool stuff that you need to come with me to let's find out this stuff. Let's just look.
You know, I really want to be honest with you, because like I said, there's so many things through that area. Um, the New Market and Hazel Green area also has a lot of, like, I don't know
Black
if people
Widow.
realize this or not, but before the Civil War, Hazel Green was about the same size of Huntsville as a town. And then when the North came in, when the Confederates were battling there, the Northern armies came in and burnt down the town to the ground, pretty
See,
much.
I didn't
Like,
even know that, Daniel.
yeah, Hazel Green was almost obliterated from the map. Um, but it was the same size, or roughly about the same size of Huntsville at that time.
Wow.
Um, New Market has just an ungodly amount of places in that area that are, you know, just they're relatively well known by the locals as being haunted or being cursed. I love it whenever people talk about things being cursed. I always find
Right.
that interesting. Again, though, is like the whole thing with Bloody Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there a Catholic school there in Huntsville that supposedly a little girl named Mary haunts there?
I don't know. Why is it? Why is it? Tell me this,
Hmm.
that in most every haunted place, there's either a little girl named Mary or Sarah.
I've often wondered that because there's Resurrection Mary there in east, was it southeast Chicago, and at the
Mm-hmm.
Resurrection Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There's a little
Very well
Mary at the
known.
hospital.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's a Mary over at Hellsbar Dam.
Hmm.
I don't
It's
know.
it's very interesting, and if you put those stories to the test, the results are usually very interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know one creator on TikTok at least who tested out some of those games, as he called it, and the results he got. I mean, he caught things on like video grabs and so forth that manifested around him and so forth while he was
Stop.
doing some of that. Absolutely
Really?
horrifying. Yes, yes. There were things that he caught that he put on his TikTok uh, channel that I was just like, wow.
Oh,
And
see, we should experiment.
I really, there are things I really want to do. There are some things that I think is a little bit kind of testing fate in a way to do. But on the other hand, especially in the areas we're talking about, because like over there in your area in particular, there was a lot of, just the history is pretty intense over there. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing with Pulaski. Pulaski just absolutely creeps me out going there sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I have to go there for work every once in a while, and I do not like
It's a pretty
spending.
dark
Oh,
past. It's got a pretty dark past.
it does. And then you get over to Pleasant. Was it Pleasant Hill? Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. That old church over there that has the creepy old cemetery right
Oh,
beside it.
I'm not sure.
It's got the old flagstone. Um, uh,
The graves that are old flagstone.
well, the wall going around the cemetery
Oh.
is made of flagstone, and these
Oh.
graves that are, and it's like literally you go there and you walk, and the ground is just like it is squishy as you
Oh.
sink in. I mean, it's
That's a little scary.
it is. And supposedly they only have services there like maybe once a month or something like that. There's a lot going on there.
There's a there's a cemetery right on the Giles County line, which is Pulaski's in Giles County.
Hmm.
So right on the Giles County Lincoln County line, and it's called Bee Springs. That's an interesting place to go to. It's a beautiful little cemetery, beautiful little church across the street. They've got a running spring that sits out in front of the church, natural spring,
Oh wow.
and there's a lot of energy around that area. Um, there are some slave graves up
Mm.
um, on one side of a fence. So it's just like, it's to me, that's what's heartbreaking, that some of these people were forgotten. They were just thrown into an area like worse than a dog, because a lot of us
Hmm.
bury our pets better than that.
Right.
And it's, I don't know.
Look,
Somebody will
have you
answer
ever?
for it, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. Have you ever been to the Hermitage?
I have, that's a bucket list thing, and you would think I had, but no, I have not. Have
Wow.
you?
I have. I used to live like down the street from it, literally. Like there was where my house was about an eighth of a mile. No, 8/10 of a mile, something like that. Are you guys hearing a lot of feedback from my end?
I'm not hearing any.
For some reason, I keep feeling it somehow. But um, the the thing with the Hermitage now, there are areas over there. Of course, you're hearing echo too. Yeah, I'm definitely hearing echo. I'm just not sure where it's coming from. Um, with the Hermitage, you know, Andrew Jackson was buried on the property there. Him and his wife and his family, and several of um, their servants were buried there too. And like the area where the servants were buried at was in a separate space. And you walk into those areas, and it's just the energy to me is almost overwhelming. You walk into the house, and the energy is the same way. You can't even like they don't even allow um, photographs and cameras inside the house because the wallpaper of the house is copyrighted.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, but there is just an energy around that whole area. Um, the Central Tennessee Highland Games used to be played there at the Hermitage, and I gotta tell you, like when I would go there, even just to go there to visit and tour the house and the grounds, um, I would just leave almost just emotionally drained. It
Wow.
was, yeah, and again, like I said, there's a big history, like right there, where on the grounds, right by the highway there, where the grounds is the the Confederate graves, the memorial for the Confederate soldiers, were right there, like across the street from the Kroger. It's literally right across the street from the Kroger on the road. There
Wow.
you can see those graves, and it's very intense. Like I said, some of the things I caught on, I literally wound up putting railroad spikes and lining my backyard in brimstone to to put a line of protection and barrier between me and whatever was on in the neighbors' yards,
Wow.
because we caught things on there's if you go to my Insta account, and I think I have it on in the photos on my Facebook group too, the Magical Journey Facebook group. There's some screen captures from my security cameras over that there at one point that shows some stuff that just freaks me out. And I remember one night. Now this you talk about somebody wanting to cry like a little girl. That would be me. Um, Look, I was outside one night.
That's my
I don't.
classmate. Hi,
That's your
Ginger.
classmate.
Yeah. Yeah, we just had our 60th birthday party bash, and I
Oh
didn't get to go.
wow. Oh,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah.
But those are always like sad to miss stuff like that. But
Right.
what are you gonna do?
Well,
Oh,
I mean, we had our 40th class reunion, and they're already planning our 45th. So I went to the
wow.
40th. I'll hit the 45th. I'll see you at the 45th, Ginger.
There you go. I don't remember what. Trying to remember. I don't remember the phase of the moon or anything else from this night that I'm about to talk about. But I remember I had gone outside specifically to consecrate a book of shadows.
Okay.
And I was working on that, and I was doing the ritual. And all of a sudden, I heard something that sounded humongous crashing through the trees coming in my direction. And I grabbed up that book and held it up to my chest. And I was like, I said, this is stop. I just said, this is the line, stop. And it literally just stopped, dead still. But it was coming right straight through the top of the trees, whatever it was, and it was big.
Oh.
Yeah, after that is when I got very curious about Hermitage and Andrew Jackson, because his what most people don't know too is his I believe it was his vice president. His last name was Calhoun. Which
Really?
the vice president's name was Calhoun or Cohoun, as it would be pronounced, with because the L is silent. It's still Cohoon either way.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Well, he was a direct descendant of my original ancestor. We all came from William I. Cahoon, who
Wow.
came over into this country in 1630. So all the Calhouns and Cohoons and Cahoons of north, the New England area, west, like around Illinois, all in those areas, all through the south where you see the Calhoun restaurant and all that.
Yeah.
All those folks are merged together in that bloodline. It
Wow.
wasn't a very big, we're not talking about a huge clan, like the McDonald's or some of those other clans. The McGregors were a huge clan.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a really relatively small clan. It wasn't very well known. Um, the Calhouns or the Cohoons, as they were called, was the reason why the McGregors were kicked out of Scotland. Yeah, they there was a battle between the two clans, and 100 of the Calhoun men were killed, and their wives went before the king carrying their bloody uniforms and placed them on the ground in front of him and said, "We need you to avenge our husbands." And his way for doing that was to kick out the McGregors.
Wow.
And the McGregors, the only way they could even really survive was to drop the Mac from their name and become the Gregors.
Oh, wow.
But that's a huge clan. That's a huge clan of people.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. But like I said, they're a huge clan, and so there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of history. I'm not going to keep going with that. But there's a lot of history. Um,
It's
with
so
this,
interesting, though. So interesting.
and again, you never like some of these areas, the smaller areas, these smaller communities and so forth, and these small towns like Pulaski and all that, and God forbid Twickenham and those areas, people really don't know. They really, unless you deep dive, there's so many hidden stories.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it seems if you uncover one, then that branches off to five more, and it's just,
At least,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, there's so much happening that has happened. It's amazing. Oh, see, there's Eric.
Here is Eric.
Eric,
Eric, how are you doing?
I had just told him he needed to have you on.
We're gonna do this. We're going to I'm making a list of these people that you're suggesting. Um, and we're
And
gonna
so,
do this.
Eric, I've already mentioned the Night House.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that sounds like um I gotta tell you, when I think of Kentucky and I think about this areas, I'm sorry, one of the places that absolutely makes my skin crawl every time I hear the name, the LBL, that literally sends me into a
In Kentucky? That
yes,
area? That area?
the yeah, especially like up there in the Northern Peninsula area, that whole thing just sends me into a whole new level of anxiety.
Eric said he just got back from there.
Mm. No, 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 no.
Ah,
Look, I know people like Martin Grove and some of those guys I have met, I've had conversations with, I've listened to their stories. I've watched these grown ass men that look like, I mean, they're not soft men by no means. They look like good old boys. Break down and cry talking about these stories. And I'm just like, no,
wow.
no, this is what I'm not gonna do today.
Wow.
Um, yeah, you're right. It's crazy is a good way of putting it. It really is. And how many of you guys know there was a famous incident that happened not far away from the LBL with a UFO and a pilot?
Oh, I don't know. I know about the goblins in Hopkinsville.
The Hopkinsville Goblin, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We all,
but not
I
Roger.
mean,
Eric's husband grew up going to LBL every weekend, never scared. Roger, you're a real man
mm, oh,
because
you
magical's
scare
not going.
me. You scare me. Okay. Um, just the fact that you are not scared of the LBL, it is like, come on, was it 270 plus cemeteries alone in the LBL?
Wow.
Um, over 800 families were forced from the LBL at the time of the takeover of that property. So let's do the math on that. Okay, you've got 800 plus families, 270 plus cemeteries there, full of very hostile energy. Okay, these people were not happy about the fact that they lost their homes. Um, they lost, I mean, everything was tied to that land for them. And then the government walks in and they're like, well, we're going to take the land, but we're not going to ever let anybody develop on it and blah, 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 blah. And, and TVA took it over. And then, of course, it became a shite show for everybody before it was over with.
Mhm.
Um, um, I'm trying to remember. I cannot remember the name of the pilot that was involved in that incident in Kentucky. Um, what is this? Yeah, yeah. Just no. I can't. Not with the LB. Come on, you know what? Honestly, like one of the problems that I have with the LBL is so when I start, like I live an hour away from McMimble in that area, okay, where the Cumberland Ridge, the Cumberland Plateau really begins.
Mhm.
When I'm driving through there, when I get to Sparta, going toward Highway 40, the Interstate 40, um, I hit Sparta, and there is a thing that starts happening that blows my mind every time. Like literally, I start getting downloads from whatever is in that area. And when I mean downloads, I mean like I'll get visual images popping into my head, I'll get voices popping into my head. Um, I have had them ask me to let them take control
Oh
of my
no.
body while they drove my car. and lost about 10 minutes
Oh
of
no,
time in the process of that.
Daniel.
Um, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, and when so I went to the Tennessee Wildman conference there in McMinnville, and the guys that were putting that on started talking about the pygmy graves there. There's thousands of them all through that area. And I started asking them questions about, the Fae and that sort of thing, and have they had um, contact with any of these creatures and so forth. And and they kept affirming, yes, yes, yes. I mean, this has happened, that's happened, blah blah blah. And I was just like, yeah, no, I just don't. I don't want to have anything. So the LBL, that's one of the reasons why the LBL, like literally where I sit right now, I am maybe 2 hours away from the LBL. I'm about an hour away from Clarksville, so it's about 2 hours to the LBL from here. I sit between the LBL and um, the Sevierville area and so forth. Sevierville, another area that absolutely drives me batshit crazy. Um, no, let me tell you.
Really?
So I went. Okay, so when I have to do work there in Sevierville, I stay in Kodak. There's a comfort suite there in Kodak that sits on the hill. I go to every single time I go there because it's my safe place to go. Well, one of the last times I went there, I said to myself, I said, whatever goes on this time, I am not going to let them get to me. They are not going to come at me this time. No sooner than I got there, and I was there for a couple of days, and it was time for me to turn around and go home. I was in the parking lot getting ready to load my bags into my car. And I got this little kind of tap on the shoulder mentally from something. And it said, turn around. And I turned around and I looked. I was facing this wooded area back behind. There was some clearing and then a wood area. And I said, I want to see you. I want to see who or what is talking to me. And whatever this was said, point your phone in the direction that I guide you to. And so click, 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 click. I started like clicking off photos left and right of the area where I felt like it was directing me to. And I got through that and I looked around at these photos, and there's a couple of those are on my Magical Journey Facebook group too. Things that I picked up on there. And one of the things, um, Daryl Denton said he thought one of them was probably a juvenile Bigfoot. But yeah, it's like right there in Kodak. That's what I'm
Wow.
saying. It's like when it comes to those areas, like all through there from Sparta all the way into like the area of the Smokies, I get bombarded every time I go there. That's why I'm like walking into the LBL would be my nightmare. I can't even imagine what I would come across there. Um, I want to find out. What was it that we were talking about that sparked me to want to do?
The pilot.
Oh, the pilot.
And I'm going to say hello to Austin and Eric and Little Twisted. The Goblins are in, they there's a Hopkinsville Goblin incident that you can look up. And Eric knows about that. Eric Freeman Sims in the chat knows all about the goblins.
Thomas F. Mantell was 25 years old, and this was on January the 7th, 1948, when his Mustang fighter plane got into a confrontation with a UFO in the skies of Kentucky and crashed. This happened not too far from the LBL.
Really?
It was not that far from the LBL. That's what
Wow.
I'm saying. It's like, um, and this has been a very debated story. This is like a very famous debated story. Um,
Um, I've got it streaming on my author page, Pamela.
wow.
Yeah, GoblinCon 2025. I will be there too.
Why does that sound so familiar? Is that there was a big one that just happened there in Hopkinsville, right?
They just had, was it the 75th anniversary of the incident? I think is what it was. Eric can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it was.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. These little goblins showed up to this family way back when.
Oh, that was the night siege incident.
That was in Hopkinsville.
Okay, now that okay.
70th next year. Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Because I know Hellbent Holler was at that conference this year that they just had, the big one that they have there. I think it's in Hopkinsville that they have the really big conference in November.
Hmm. I don't
I
know.
know they were.
I
I
know.
know that.
I know. This one, the 2025, is scheduled for October. So, you guys make sure you go. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, that story in itself is one for the books because
Hmm.
that lasted the entire night. And they I remember the case was originally when I was reading it, they were calling it the Hopkinsville Night Siege. And I remember one of the things that they were talking about was when, like, I guess they tried to. Uh, oh, you're going to be speaking at that one too, aren't you? Wow.
Oh, why, yes. Yes, I am.
Oh, wow. That will be another good reason to go there. Um, I remember one of the things about that case that interested me was they were saying that there was this wherever these things would fall at or land at on the ground, there was this almost iridescent film over the grass that they would leave behind and stuff.
Well, that's kind of pretty.
Yeah, yeah. There was just
Right.
there was a lot of things about that story that just was kind of it was definitely, like I said, one for the records. I
Mhm.
And so when I hear about that, and again with the correlation um, to the LBL, you know, it's kind of overwhelming in a sense to me for whatever reason. But the thing that with the LBL too, one of the things that always amazes me about that is the 1982 case with the family. Because I know there's one person at least that's come out in recent years and claimed to have been there that night. And of course, later they discover that his story may not be true. Um, I know that
She's such a
Pam,
good one. She is
I
so
love
good.
Pam. Pam is
She's amazing.
like she's the goddess of moderators, honestly. She is one of the most amazing people I've ever met and so absolutely loves doing what she does.
She's
Uh,
amazing.
she really is. And you know and none of us that rely on her would like there's just no way that we could really do some of the stuff we do without her support and things. Um, Denise is another one. Denise is amazing. She's one of my moderators, and
Oh,
I gotta tell you, the two of them together really do some amazing work on here that keeps me able to go and grow. Um, so let's let's back up a little bit here though, because the LBL thing obviously got me twisted for a minute. Um,
it did.
I'm telling you, look,
It tore you up a little bit.
like in the like I said, in the space that I live at, where I live at is really kind of centered between the LBL and the Smokies, and like I said, just the amount of energy that comes off of those two places sometimes sends me on a loop. It really does. But
Have,
with
have you been up to back into Cades Cove area and up into
oh yeah,
Elkmont,
yeah,
the ghost
yeah,
town?
yeah.
That's pretty amazing too.
Oh,
And
Cades Cove and that little there's a going toward Townsend. There's a little grist mill that we always stopped at. Both of those areas, I always feel like I'm being watched the whole time I'm there.
you probably are.
I always feel like I'm being watched. There's one house in particular at the Cove that every time I go in there, I can just feel eyes all over me the whole time. And I remember I took a picture of one of the fireplace in that house. And for the longest time I had it on my phone, and I finally had to take it off.
Oh,
Because I was just like, every time I ran up on that, it would just give me the heebie-jeebies. I'd be like, "Oh my goodness!"
oh
And
wow.
I could just feel the eyes on me all over again. I'd be like, "No, no, no, not doing this today." Um, but yeah, Cades Cove is a wonderful place. I love it. I really do. But it's not like Brian from Black Mass Paranormal podcast. He will go up in there with a friend of his in the middle of the night and do research and investigation. I am not that person. I,
I think
I,
I've seen some of his stuff. I think I've seen some of. Was he the one that was talking about some tunnels at one point?
mhm.
Okay, okay.
He's the one they went into that one. I think it's the old Methodist church, and they caught something running toward them from the back door up the aisle, and you could hear it running across the floor at them.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah, that is. Yeah, he's too brave for my taste. I'm telling you, I that interview.
There's so many
It really
places
is.
to investigate.
It really is. Well, and you know that they have oh yeah, 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 yeah. There is um an orb in one of the videos. It's called, what is this one? Has some great paranormal feels.
Mm.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah. That's just yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, the LBL.
Roger, Daniel ain't going. Daniel ain't going.
You know, and let's be clear here, okay? It's like it's under the right conditions, I might actually go there, but it would have to be a phenomenally across the board, all boxes checked thing.
Right, right.
I mean, I would not just walk in there willy-nilly carrying Toto in a basket singing, follow the yellow brick road. No. No, 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 no. It would have to be all boxes checked to go in there. Well, especially because like some of the stories that um the guys have been talking about lately, experiences they had in there. Daryl talked about seeing things they've never seen before, like transparent type creatures coming up out of the water and all kinds of. I'm like, yeah, no, no,
Wow.
yeah.
There's some kind of besides the cryptids that Eric talked about. Seems like there's some kind of lake cryptid as well, and I
Mhm.
can't remember what that thing is called.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what they call it either, but I do know that, like, are you talking about over by the Devil's Backbone in that area?
Maybe I don't. I'm not really sure. Um, but something in the water. So
Mm-mm,
yeah, who knows?
mm-mm.
Who
It's the
knows?
L- who it's the LBL exactly. Who knows? Um, so with all that said, what do you have any final thoughts for the night?
Well, I think you and I
Mm,
need to start making a list, and we're
definitely.
not far apart. We just need to go check some of these places out. Oh, and we could live stream. We
That we could
could.
do.
We
Yeah,
could do that. That would be fun. That would be really
I think it
fun.
would. I think it would definitely be fun. Yeah, because there's some places, especially like I said, down around your area and so forth, that I'm very curious about. Um,
Oh,
and some
Eric's in too. See?
Eric, you say you're into. We can do this.
See?
I'm okay with
And if
doing this.
Austin is down, Al, we just got to get you down here. Austin is thinking about coming down. We're trying to twist his arm.
Yep, Pam is definitely saying that it needs to happen
Yeah, we would have a good time. We would have such a good time. Oh, Roger the tour guide.
for the LBL. Roger, you trying to make me have a stroke, aren't you?
No.
It's just I so I'll tell you guys this really quickly. So one of the first experiences I had with cryptids, I was fairly young. I can't remember exactly. I'm 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. Um, they
I got your
literally came
hand.
to me. They literally came to me in a dream and said, spoke to me. I can still picture it just as clear as day. It was like there was nothing but intense white light all around them, and they were dark, dark black. And they were trying to speak to me, and they were trying to tell me, don't fear us, just kind of go with it, kind of thing. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is not okay. I'm not having fun with this, whatever this is right now. And I pulled myself out of that experience, that dream, whatever it was, very quickly. But after that, every time they would try to communicate with me, it became just more and more intense every time. So yeah, but so I agree with you that uh, we need to tackle some of these. I think as a team,
I
and,
think so too.
just kind of go with it and see what we can get. Because I think there is a huge amount of first of all, the just the amount of places and the amount of experiences and the amount of lore to look into
Mhm.
is
There's so
vast.
much. so much.
It's vast.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And I think it would be very fun and very interesting to see what we get from going to some of these places, because I think, first of all, people seriously wanting to do real investigation and do it in a way that's dignified, it is very important for some of these areas, especially some of the areas that have been kind of neglected,
Mm-hmm.
or they've just been kind of like glamorized or sensationalized to the point where it's over the top. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah, and people just show up without any kind of respect at all. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like wherever you go to investigate, um, just remember that you don't want somebody barging into your house saying, "Hey, come talk to me." So it's just like us barging into their house.
Right.
Just be respectful. Be respectful. Walk in, say, "Hey, my name is so and so. I am from so and so. I would love to talk to you." Just be more friendly with them instead
Mhm.
of um, going in for just the kicks.
Right. And Al, Eric, and Roger, I've got you guys on uh, my list to of people to contact. I just want you guys to know that. So I will be getting in touch with you guys, especially when it comes to getting to know a little bit
Oh,
more
thank you.
the about the uh, about the lore and so forth, and some of the stuff behind the areas that we're talking about here. And Cyn, yes, thank you very much for coming in tonight. Uh, I'm always know that whenever I'm talking with you or Mark, the combinations separately, however, it's going to be a good conversation. It's going to be an exchange of energy.
Good stuff.
And
The
that's
good kind.
it is. And so it's so needed. It's so needed. Um, we're going to we're going to look at some upcoming stuff and see what we can do locally,
Yeah.
because yeah, I really want to do that and get that going, because I think you've got something there when it comes to the idea of doing that. um, so again, like I was saying, do you have any final thoughts for us tonight?
I have enjoyed this so much. I've enjoyed getting to know a few new people, as well as thank you for my friends coming on. So great to see you guys. And yeah, Al's got his Ghost in the Valley podcast. So if you're interested in listening to anything um, else, go up and listen to Al. And besides, he's got his new book out, which is very, very good. I just read it. I love it. I love it. Austin, he's another one you should have on. He's got two books out and working on his documentary series. So there's all kinds of talented people just in your chat
Oh
tonight.
yeah, 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 definitely. I know the chat's been a who's who of talent tonight,
Yes.
and just a lot of really good energy in there. So I appreciate you guys showing up for this and getting a chance to uh, really get to engage with everybody tonight. Um, so I'm going to close this out here, and we're going to have a little bit of conversation afterwards about coming up events. But I'm going to close this out, and thank you again so much for coming in
Thank
tonight.
you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Eric. I'll be looking for it.
Oh, well, yeah. All right. And there you have it. Cyn Shrader Hill. I'm telling you guys, the moment, the interview I've been waiting for a bit now, tonight, and was very excited about. I'm still very excited about, and I'm excited about the possibilities of things coming up because of this interview. Uh, those of you who came in, and engaged with us tonight and really added something to it, thank you guys so much. Again, I've got some of you guys on my list of folks to contact and see what we can come up with for the future. Definitely an amazing soul, amazing soul. Um, do not forget, I do have, I'm getting ready to record here in a little while, part 2 of the interview with Lyria about her haunting and the poltergeist experience that she's had for quite some time. Next week, I believe it's next week. Is it next week? It is next week. Next week, I will have Michael Cameron on, who is another person who I've been working with for quite some time to get onto this show. So that is another interview. Please join us for. It will be well worth it. We've had some pretty extensive conversations in regard to the interview and in regard to just his story. So that is definitely something to look forward to. Meanwhile, do not forget, like, share, subscribe to this channel, please, please, please. And always, may your journey always be magical.